In this video, I'll be defining float or slack of an activity and event in the critical path methods or the project management, where we want to understand what is the project scheduling and we want to calculate the time duration of a project, and hence we want to reduce the total time duration of the project. So in that process, we want to understand what is the free time available with the activity, so that that free time can be reduced and hence we can optimize the time duration of the project. So to understand that free time, we must need to first define the float. So this is what the quantity we associate with the free time or the delay of the activities, or there is a gap in the time of occurrence of a particular activity or a particular event in the project. So we will define this into two parts. One is event float and the second is activity float. Now let us see what is event flow. Whenever we have the network representation, say for example, I take this representation in a network, okay, and I associated certain time with these activity, and then let's say I am calculating the earliest and latest. In this case, the first is my earliest and the second is latest. So this means this node can be started by 5th. This node, by looking at the earliest, it takes 4 days, but other takes 5 plus 6, so this takes 11 days. And latest are also same, so this is 11. When I subtract back 11 minus 6, this is 5. This will give me 5 minus 5, 0, and here 11 minus, so the latest is 0. In this case, these are my events. These, or the nodes are called as events. These are, so there are 3 events. If I want to read now, anything that is started from first, this is because this is the first node. This is the first node. We can start anything from here. This activity takes 5 days. Anything that wanted to start from 2, it requires 5 days, and then we start something. Anything that we want to start from node 3 would require 11 days. So this is about starting time, okay? But if we read the completion time, so we say node 3 is completed in 11 days. Node 2 is completed in 5 days. Node 1 is completed on 0th day because this was the first node. Okay, so there are two different ways how we can read the time. And whenever we talk about the activity flow, activity means we want to understand now the activity which is given by this arrow. Okay, now for example, in the first activity there is no free time. Because we have started this activity at 0th time, it took 5 days and we have started next activity immediately after 5th day. Similarly, at node 2, the starting time is 5 days. We took 6 days to complete this activity and the next activity is started at 11. So there is no free time. But look at this activity which is here, 1 to 3. This activity 1 to 3. Now this activity has started on 0th day. This has started on 0th day and it took 4 days to complete. But the next activity is started on 11th day. So there is a gap. So in activity 1 to 3, there is a gap. Okay, there is a gap of time. So because earliest of first node is 0 and this activity is E3, and here the earliest is 11 days, but the activity took only 4 days, so this gap is what we call float. In fact, this gap is also from the latest occurrence. So if I look at the latest occurrence, this is L3, this is 11, and here my latest occurrence is again back to 0. So these gap, when we understand from the earliest point of view or from the latest point of view, are named the terminology as float. So that is why now either we can write this as float even, and in some cases we can define it as activity float. Depending upon how do we want to understand the float, we can then bifurcate these one. Let us first define what is event float. So we define event float, and this event float or slack of an event is the difference between the latest time and the earliest times. So for example, let us now consider a case. We have here a small project, and suppose this is node 2, 3. At this stage, E2 is 8 and L2 is 10. Okay, I'm only focusing on event float because it is event, so I don't want to consider the activities in between. Now, assuming that E2 is 8 and L2 is 10, anything that we want to start after this node 2 can be started after 8 days. But because we are reading backward, L2 is the latest completion time, which must have come from the node 3. So we say when the third we read backward, so from here, suppose it is given that L2 is 10. So the difference between L2 and E2, this is 2. So this says that there is a gap of the free time, float time, or the slack of the event is 2. So this is how we read. And we want to always minimize. We want to minimize. So in the optimal crashing, whenever we want to achieve the total scheduling of the project, we want to ensure that these quantities are going to become same, and hence it comes as a critical path activity. Okay, this is the event float, and event float are always going to be positive. So because Li is always greater than or equal to Ei, so event float is always positive. It is not a negative quantity. If it is equal, then we may say that it is equal to 0 also. So next we define the activity float, and in this the first activity float is total float. Again, total float is the free time which is available for the activities, and this is the amount that can be delayed without delay in the project completion date. And hence we want to calculate now total float. So I'm just writing it as total float, and this case is written as Lj minus Ei plus Tij. This is the time, and this we know this is the latest. To understand this, let's see this again. Consider I and jth node. At this stage, I must be associated Ei, Li. Here I will have Ej, Lj. Now what we want to say is, rather than considering these one, total float only talks about the project completion of the whole project. Okay, so this means I would be more focused on the completion time here, because we want to understand the total float. So let's start from the Lj. Completion time of the project. This talks about completion time. And to trace out the completion time and understand the gap, we must need to compare this with the earliest time. So compare this with the earliest time. In the earliest time, this event can start anything at after Ei. This event can start anything with the time Ei, and this activity takes the time Tij. So hence the next amount should be Ei plus Tij. If Lj is equal to Ei plus Tij, then there is no float. Then there is no float, and hence no gap or no gap. But if this time, because the completion time we calculate Lj from a different backward step, so we can see here that there are some activities or there are some event when this quantity is not equal to this quantity, Ei plus Tij. So the difference between this and the earliest plus the time is called the total float. And again, the total float is greater than or equal to 0. Because it is possible that in some of the situation this quantity is equal. Next we define the free float. Now total float was for the whole project. So we calculate it from the completion, whether the last completion jth node would be the last node, and hence from there we are trying to understand. Free float is particular for an activity. So this is for an activity. This is for an activity again, but not in connection to the whole project. What we need to do is, so this is referring to free float time by which an activity can be delayed without delaying in its immediate successor activity. So the next activity should not be disturbed because of this free float time. And to calculate this free float, we are calculating it again from some I and jth activity. Let us see this. This is EI, this is EJ. So for free float, we do not, because we want to start something from here, we do not want to disturb our immediate procedure. So I'm not going to look up now the latest completion time. This activity has started at EI time, this took TIJ, and hence EJ is the starting time for this particular event. So free float time is EJ minus EI plus TIJ. And if this quantity, if there is no delay, that means we have started on EF time, TIJ time has been taken, and we can then start with EJ. So if this quantity and this quantity are same, this quantity becomes 0. In all other cases, this quantity becomes strictly positive. So sometime, because EJ not only depend upon this event, but the EJ also depends upon the some other activities that are coming in this one. And we take this EJ as the maximum of the time which are coming up from the different events or different nodes. So this is the free float time. Third, we define it as independent float, and in the independent flow, it is the portion of the total float. So from the total float again, but when we say total float, that means again we are talking about some sort of calculation with the latest time, within which an activity can be delayed from start without affecting the float of the preceding activities. So in free float, we have said that we do not want to disturb the time of the successor activities, and here we say that we do not want to disturb the time of the preceding activities. So in this case, independent float, if I want to now write the formula for independent float, this would be earliest of jth activity minus latest of ith activity minus the time duration. Again, let us see if this is an activity I and then we have an activity J. We have calculated the, now because in this case we do not want to disturb the time of this. So let me to write here Li, and here this is EJ and this is TIJ. Now this says that this project is completed or not completed. This project can start anything after EJ time. This is earliest starting occurrence of this event. So this time must have been calculated by EI plus this quantity TIJ. But suppose now I am not reading it from EIJ, I am just reading it from the latest occurrence. It says that this ith node is occurred or it has finished this project with the time Li. So if I simply add this Li, the project has been completed with the time Li plus the next time Tij should be EJ. But if this is not same, then I may have certain float available in the activity, and in some circumstances this independent float, it may be negative. This may be negative. So let me to take a circumstance here. Suppose that there is an activity 1 to 2, and here let us take earliest is 20 and let us take L1 is 38. In this case, let me to take E2 as 39 and L2 as 57. So they may be different, they may be anything. So this is 19. Now if I want to calculate the independent float of this activity 1 to 2, so in this case what I want is I have to look at the earliest of this one and latest and the time of this one. So this means this has to be E2 minus L1, and then I'm just subtracting the time also. Or I may say simply E2 minus L1 plus T1. So basically previous two times should be added, and if they are equal to this is fine, there is no gap. But if they are not equal, then we need to see what is the gap. So this is 39 minus, this is 38 plus 19, and this quantity is not positive, this quantity is minus 18, which is negative. So if such case comes up, so in that case we consider independent flow as 0. So we do not consider this negative time practically, because this situation would, although in rarely it will arrive, but in some cases if it does arrive, even a smaller quantity -1, so I will consider, I'm not going to consider this quantity in the magnitude, and this amount should not be decreased. So this is not a float time for such activity. Now by looking at these float, we have the following remarks. So LIs are always greater than or equal to EI. So this means latest occurrence are always greater than or equal to earliest occurrence. So this implies us very clearly that independent float, This is the smallest because we have said this can be negative or at least it can be 0. This is always less than or equal to free float, and this is always less than or equal to total float in a project. So this is about the latest completion, this is about the starting, and this is independent about the preceding. So this is about the successor activity, this was about the preceding activity, this was about the successor activity, and this was about the all activities that we were talking, and it will not correspond and delay in the project. Okay, not delay in project. So this is roughly we talk about these floats. And also second important thing that we can see here from these float times, an activity is critical if its total float is 0. Not only FF but total float should be 0. Then we say that this is a critical activity. FF equal to 0 does not imply that it is a critical activity, because in FF we have only considered the time. It is does not imply that it is a critical activity. So this is what we see. If FF is equal to 0, it does not imply that it is a critical activity, because in the FF we have only looked at the calculation of the earliest and we have not included the latest time. But in total we have included latest completion and the earliest of the previous node, and hence we have checked that if there is a float or not. If in that activity there is no float and the total float is 0, certainly it is a critical activity. So consider this example, and in this example I want to calculate free float of activities in given network, because for doing the crashing I would be requiring the free float time of each activity while scheduling the project. So I am calculating free float. To before that, let me to draw here the network of this project, which is given here by the event points or the nodal point. So we have 1 to 2, 1 to 3, then we got 2 to 4, 4 to 5, and we have 3 to 5, 3 to 6 is a nodal point, and we got 5 to 7, and we have 6 to 7. Write down the time duration, which is given here, the normal time 6, and then we got 8, 2 to 4 is 7, 4 to 5 is 8, 3 to 5 this is 11, 3 to 6 that's 7, 5 to 7 this is 5, and here it is 8. Let us calculate earliest and the latest. So I'm writing the first position is my earliest and second position is the latest. So this is the latest. And we can calculate now earliest. 0 plus 6 this is 6, 6 plus 7 this is 13, 13 plus 8 is 21. But to calculate earliest of node 5, I should be calculating first earliest of this previous node, that is 3. So 0 plus 8 this is 8. Now I have to look at the maximum of 13 and 8 while adding the time duration. So this is 13 plus 8 is 21, 8 plus 11 is 19. So this would be 21. And hence I will move forward. 8 plus 7 this is 15, and now again to calculate 7 I should have a time of 5th event and 6th event. 21 plus 5 26, or 15 plus 8 is, so the maximum is 26, and hence the latest time of the last node. So this is E7 and this is L7. Trace back, we get 21. Calculating the latest time backward, 26 minus 8, we see here this is 18. So the earliest and latest are not always same, you can see from here. If I want to calculate for third, I should have the latest of 5th node and 6th node that are generating from third. So 21 minus 11 or 18 minus this 7 should give me the minimum. I should take the minimum. So this is 10. Then 21 minus 18, this is 13. 13 minus this is 6. And we are back to 0, because 6 minus 6 is 0. 10 minus 8 is 2, but I have to take the minimum. Once we have identified these one, let's calculate now the free float time. For free float, let us see what was the free float. Free float was jth minus ei plus tij. This is the free float time. So if I simply add this earliest and the time and subtract it from this should be the one my free float. Let's calculate here. Here the free float is 6 plus 7 should subtract from 13. This is 0. Here the free float time is 13 plus 8 should be 21. Yes, it is 21, so this is 0. In this case, let us see what is free float. 8, this is earliest of ith node. The time duration 8 plus 11, that is 19, minus the jth node 21. But this is not same, so there is a gap because this is 21. So we can see separately also for activity 3 to 5. We have earliest of this is 8. The time taken by the activity is 11, and in this stage E5 is 21. 8 plus 11 is 19, but it is not 19. This project start and this activity can generate the new activities after 21 days. So there is a gap, and this free float gap is 2 days. In this case, the free float is again 8 plus 7, 15, and this is 15, so this is 0. For this 15 plus 8, that is 23, and here we have 26, so this gap is 3 days. And for this activity, free float is 0. Now this way we can calculate free float, and also we can do the calculation of total float and independent float generally in the project scheduling, because we want to reduce in each activity, so we focus more on the free float times.